In Lesson 3, we focus on identifying user stories or use cases to define the functional requirements for an information system. So in this lesson, we're going to focus on another key concepts that defines requirements, which is the things in the problem domain. Nearly all approaches to system development include identifying and modeling. We identify and model domain classes or data entities as an important task in the analysis activity, which is define functional requirements. So a basic problem with data modeling is what to use for the generic term of items. In the real world, that a system analyst is trying to discover. So we have chosen to simply call them things. And although things is a very ambiguous term that can be used to identify almost any real-world item or abstract idea, that information is in fact what data modeling is trying to capture. The term problem domain is an interesting word of choice. Often, when we think of problem, we think that something is broken. However, in this context, the word problem simply means a need that requires a business solution. So, problem domain is the specific area or domain of the user's business need that is within the scope of the new system. So, system developers are developing a solution. Let me delete this first. A solution for a business need or business problem. So the term problem domain or the context and arena in which the business problem exists. So there are many techniques for identifying and the important things in the problem domain that the system needs to remember. So two of them are introduced in this lesson, the brainstorming technique and the noun technique. So brainstorming technique use a checklist of all the usual types of things typically found and brainstorm to identify domain classes of each type. And the noun technique identify all of the nouns that come up when the system is described and determine if each is a domain class, an attribute, or not something we need to remember. So the brainstorming technique, it is a technique that is a joint effort between the analyst and the users. So in this figure, so you will see here the many different types of things that should be considered. So things here ranges from very tangible things such as airplane, book, vehicle, document, or worksheet, and to roles such as employee, customer, doctor, and a lot more. So other types of things can include organizational units such as division, department, section, devices such as sensor, timer, controller, sites and locations, sites or locations such as warehouse, branch office, factory, and even incidents or events or interactions such as flight, service calls, log on, log off, order, payment. So the analyst identifies these things by thinking about each use case, talking to users, and asking questions. So, um, for example, for each use case, what types of things are affected that the system needs to know about and store information about? Okay, the types of things shown here can be used to systematically brainstorm about what types of things might be involved in each use case. So, for example, when a customer wants to buy from a website, the system needs to store information about the customer, the items ordered, the details about the sales itself, such as the date and payment terms, and the location of the items need to be shipped. So for that one use case, the analyst can identify tangible things such as items or ordered, or the roles played, such as the customer, incidents or events such as the sale, and the sites and locations such as the warehouse, and organizational units such as shipping. So here are the steps to follow when using the brainstorming techniques. So first, we identify a user and a set of use cases. As you can recall, we have discussed about use cases in the previous lesson. And the second step is to brainstorm with the user to identify things involved in carrying out the use case. That is, things about which information should be captured by the system. And use the type of things. So first, identify, second, brainstorm, and then third, use the type of things or categories to systematically ask questions about potential things, such as the following. Are there You can ask questions such as, are there any tangible things you store information about? Are there any locations involved? Are there roles played by people that you need to remember? So these types of questions, uh, you might uh, always remember or think about this type of questions when you ask users of the systems. And the fourth step is to continue to work with all types of users and stakeholders to expand the brainstorming list. So as we've seen earlier about uh, the figure, that there are lots, you can come up with a list of different types of things. So it's going to expand. So you need to continue to work with them so that you can include all the necessary list of things that is needed for the system. And then lastly, you merge the results and eliminate any duplicates. So maybe different in different categories of things there can be duplicates, so you need to eliminate that and compile an initial list.